flap, pustule, jowls, nugget, gurgle, smear, bulbous, pork.
If you hear certain words on the job site,
baloney,
work can be uncomfortable.
tender.
So at least get work gear that's comfortable. Timberland Pro work shirts, pants, and boots. Head to toe, Timberland Pro. Not uncomfortable.
Moist.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Friday morning on ESPN and Radio and ESPN News. Glad you're with us. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. And, of course, you can get in touch with us on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. We got a lot of great guests coming up in the next little bit. Stugotz will be with us here in just a few moments. Jeff Saturday will join us, our ESPN NFL analyst. And Connor Williams, one of the potential first offensive linemen to go in the draft from the University of Texas, will join us at the top of the next hour. He has an interesting story about how he got to where he is and what was his motivation. You'll want to stick around for that. It is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it is a great story. Yeah. It'd be a very good one to hear.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we're in such a great time now, with sports, with the NBA playoffs getting ready to start. We appreciate Tom Thibodeau coming on last hour to talk about how his Timberwolves are going to try and match up against Houston 0-4 this year, and Minnesota had to win their last game of the season just to get into the playoffs, but they're in to the hockey playoffs going on right now. Everybody going through their first games in the first round to the draft getting ready to come up, which is such an amazing event for nothing happening on the field.
And yet people are all in.
It's just unreal.
And to that point, I always like to point this out. What is your favorite sporting month of the year? Because I think April is really hard to beat because you have the start of the Major League Baseball season. You have playoffs in the NBA, playoffs in the NHL. You get your football fix with free agent signings and the draft, even though I get it, it's not football games.
But it's still football. You had the Masters.
You have the Masters. You have the national championship game in college basketball, and you get a run-up to the Kentucky Derby.
It is tough to beat as far as variety.
Yeah.
You certainly
I celebrate the entire collection.
There you go.
When it comes to April.
Yeah.
So
put that
up on the Twitter feed. What is your favorite sports month of the year? A lot of people would say September.
Right.
Because you get the start of the baseball playoffs, you get football and college football, and I understand that. But in terms of the breadth and depth of everything that
all
April
the different
has to
things,
offer,
it is tough to beat.
Kind of tough to beat.
Football is king to fans out there, and there's no on-the-field football, but this type of football involves everyone because every fan of every team thinks their team can get better, and up their value going into the season. So, and just be at the venues for these drafts alone. When they were in New York all the time, those later days after the first day were packed, and now barnstorming the way the NFL is, which I think is a fantastic idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 100,000 people Friday night in Philadelphia last year singing "Fly, Eagles, Fly" when they made their third-round pick. It was nuts. So I'm curious to see what it's going to be like in Dallas. But again, let us know your thoughts. What is the best sports month of the calendar year? I'm all in on April, and we'll see what happens with everybody else. And let's start now with what's trending. And, of course, one of those things that makes April great, the start of the NBA playoffs. Spurs at Golden State, 2:30 Eastern on ABC and ESPN Radio. Our basketball power index gives the odds 76% in favor of Golden State.
Yeah, listen, we know Golden State, they've limped into the playoffs, lost 10 of their last 17 games. Curry is missing the first round. You had KD coming back from the rib thing, the rib situation. I do think there's a lot of pressure on KD saying, listen, everybody said after last year when he was the MVP of the finals, is he getting ready to take over for LeBron as the best player in the league? And obviously LeBron, squelched that one.
Correct.
Very intensely. And he is still the man. And now KD asked to lead this team without Steph. And even with Steph coming back, if he comes back in the second round, if they get past the first round, there's that rust factor that kicks in. There is a lot on KD. I think they take care of business. I still think by the time they get to, and I do think they will get to Houston to play in the Western Conference Finals, I think they are all together then, and I do think they still move on to the finals again.
If nothing else, the idea that Golden State may have some cracks in its foundation makes it more interesting.
Agreed.
Look, let's be honest. When this season began, what did we all say? Yeah, probably going to be fourth time in a row, Cavs and Warriors. Now there is some curiosity about that in the West, and there's definitely curiosity about that in the East with Cleveland finishing as the 4th seed, but obviously they've rebooted their lineup 4 times maybe this entire season. So we'll see what this latest version of Cleveland can do going into the playoffs. Well, Cookmaster Cliff is going to be upset with this, but the Knicks, not the Sixers, the Knicks intend to reach out to Villanova's Jay Wright about that head coaching job that is now vacant.
So Cliff has basically thrown Brett Brown under the bus, who
despite
was nice
being an unbelievable great coach,
to come on the show here, and what a great job he's doing.
How'd that go yesterday, by the way? I was traveling.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
He was fantastic. And, of course, Cliff said he'd want Jay Wright to coach the 76ers. That's not happening. Brett Brown's going to keep that job. Cliff, how are you going to feel now if Jay Wright leaves Villanova for the Knicks?
I changed my mind. I'm happy we have Brett Brown, and got the Sixers in the playoffs, 52 wins. Let's go.
Not Jay Wright?
Nah, not Jay Wright. I hope he's happy in Villanova, though. Maybe he'll take that Knicks job. Who knows?
Oh, I think he's just throwing the casting aside now.
So what happened when you brought this up to Brett yesterday?
Brett handled it with class, like he normally does.
Yeah.
Brett, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sorry
he
I
was
missed
great.
That would have been
and
good.
to hear when we had Woj in here to talk about, they have Brett talking to the marketing team and sales and such, and just what a leader he's been there again through this whole process that they've gone through. But for Jay Wright, that's been the thought. Not been another college. They said if he made that jump, it would go to the pros, and he'd certainly make. I don't know what he's making at Villanova, but he's been there forever.
Yeah. You know what he'd make in the NBA?
More than he's making at Villanova. So does he want that challenge? And again, it's up to the individual, because there's a lot of people that said, my God, you have it made in college, especially there. Why would you leave there? Some people want to say, you know what? I've won a couple titles here in the last 3 years. I want to challenge myself at the highest level. That's the NBA. You can make a boatload of money with it. But a lot of people say, well, you just get hired to get fired once you go there and once you go down that road.
Look, the grass is greener always if there's more money, but that doesn't sometimes mean that's a better green. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
And
look, the green can turn brown really quick.
Correct.
Yeah.
And looking at Jay Wright and seeing the way he's done and seeing how comfortable he is at Villanova.
Yeah.
Look, I get the feel, I could be totally wrong, but I get the feeling like, you know what? I know how good I've got it right now, and maybe let's not mess that up. That's just my reading of it. He seems like he's very content.
Does seem like he's happy there, maybe in line for a statue.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless he doesn't have one yet, I don't imagine.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a statue for Cliff either.
No, that's true.
And that can't
point.
happen. We can't have Cliff not have a statue and Jay Wright not have a statue.
Yeah.
Those things need to be changed.
Yeah.
They may build a statue for Shohei Ohtani.
Wow.
The way things are going. His first triple, it's a 3-run triple in the Angels' 7-1 win over the Royals. He tripled with the bases loaded in a 5-run seventh. He continues to deliver on the mound, at the plate, and also to the fans.
How about this? The players had some time in batting practice and stuff where they signed some autographs. Ohtani gave one of his bats to a 6-year-old boy who asked, I love it, the kid just asked for the bat before the game. And
next time ask for seats.
Yeah, exactly.
And a paycheck.
Was signing autographs, and he gave him the bat. And this is what Shohei said. He said he looked really sad when he was asking me. He really wanted that bat, so I gave it to him. Hopefully he can swing the bat and become a good baseball player someday. But I can't be doing this all the time, or I'll run out of bats.
You know what? I'm pretty sure they'll give you more bats.
What? They'll make more for you.
The one thing I'm not concerned about is, Shohei, you will always have a piece of lumber to your liking.
That's exactly
to
right.
set up at the plate.
Agree
but
with
good
that.
for Shohei Ohtani.
That is cool,
and listen, he has been so far probably better than advertised, which was impossible after what we thought.
And good for the 6-year-old. Hey, can I have your bat? Hey, you know what? All you can get is the word no,
exactly.
But in this case, the kid got a bat.
The worst thing that can happen is you walk away as you were.
That's exactly right.
He walked away in a better situation. Look, with ESPN Radio and TuneIn, you've got the Major League season in the palm of your hand. You can listen to live games on ESPN Radio and the TuneIn app, and check out how TuneIn Premium gives you the home call of every team all season long, like what the Angels are doing with Shohei Ohtani. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial of TuneIn Premium. Just go to the App Store on Android or iOS and download TuneIn and start your free trial today. You know, we get a big bonus on this show because we don't have to pay to listen to Stugotz. We get him for free. He's a free trial every week. Normally it's Thursday. Today he's here on Friday. So, Stu, welcome in, and thanks for being part of our free trial today.
Hey, guys, how you doing? Free. I don't like the sound of free, Trey. I don't like working for free, man. I don't like this. Well, I get up a half hour earlier. I drive in earlier. I mean, I listen, I'm doing it for nothing. I'm doing it because I love Wingo and Golic.
Oh, you're such a great liar, and we appreciate that.
That's what you do.
But I understand.
That was just Golic.
That's on me because I realized the words "you" and "free" never go together, so I apologize for that. Should Stan Van Gundy do you have any issues with what he said, saying it shows a lack of respect for your fans when we talk about tanking?
Ask if Philly fans feel disrespected.
Right.
I mean, listen, I love Stan, and for those who don't know, and many people don't, why would you? Stan, between his Magic job and the job he took with the Pistons, Stan did a weekly show with us. And Stan is just a grumpy guy. He is, especially after a season in which he didn't make the playoffs. And we love Stan, but no, it's not disrespectful for your fans. So the right way to do it is the way Philadelphia did it, which is by saying, hey, we're tanking. Like if you announce to your fans, we're going to tank for a few years, trust the process. Is that the right way to do it? I don't care how you do it. The fact of the matter is, guys, you are rewarded for being really, really bad in every sport. And in every sport. And the reward you get, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, is you get an overall number 1 pick or a number 2 pick or a lottery pick. And you're incentivized to lose. And until they take that out of the game, that's just the way it is. So I never blame teams who are tanking. Whether they tell you or not, it doesn't matter. Tanking is smart because it gets you a big prize at the end of the season.
Is that something that you see? I mean, you really don't see it. It's tougher to do in the NFL, but I know when there are teams like you've talked about it with the Jets, if you see the season's not going anywhere, I hear fans all the time saying, well, I wish we just lose the rest of the games so we could get a better slot, a better draft pick.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. Like every single season, Mike, the Jets reach a point. Just about every single season, they reach a point where I want them. I'm actively sitting there rooting for them to lose games because, they get a higher draft pick. And that's just the way fans are. I mean, fans don't care about a team that goes 7-9. Fans want a team to go 1-15 so they can get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, and go 13-3 for the next 15 years. That's just the way fans are. Listen, I understand where Stan is coming from, but it's hard for a coach to relate to fans because they've never really been fans. Fans just want their teams to be better at all costs. I'm telling you right now, Philadelphia, man, are they sitting pretty? Think about the process they went through. Where they have Embiid, and he sat, his first season. Where they have Ben Simmons, he didn't play at all his first season. Now Markelle Fultz becomes the youngest player in NBA history to have a triple-double. I mean, the future is bright, so much so that, there are some people saying that LeBron James might be attracted. So attracted. This team is so well put together that LeBron James might want to go to Philadelphia to play basketball. It worked out there.
Look, it certainly has, and it was a little rocky to begin with, and everyone had to go through their standard missing a year injury with the Sixers and the way it worked out. But look, they're a fascinating team to watch. They go into the playoffs having won 16 straight games. Speaking of fascinating processes, we have not spoken since the Masters. Obviously, you and I were geeked up beyond belief with everything that could happen, and we got almost all of it except for the old guys. Both Tiger and Phil were inconsequential when it came to it. So did you get what you wanted out of this Masters experience last weekend?
I mean, Trey, I get it every single year. So, like Tiger, no Tiger, Phil, no Phil. I love golf. I love that event. It's my favorite sporting event of the year. So I got what I wanted. I don't think, the casual golf fan, they didn't get what they wanted. They wanted Tiger, to a lesser extent, they wanted Phil, but they really wanted Tiger. Here was the problem with Tiger, at least for me, Trey. We didn't get a single Tiger moment. I have no problem with Tiger not being around in the final round, not being in one of those final pairings. We didn't get a single Tiger moment. That was disappointing, even for me. But we did get a legendary final round by Jordan Spieth. Ricky Fowler played amazing. And now we have a new villain in golf, and it's Patrick Reed. I mean, and I think golf needs that. I think that's a good thing for golf, Trey, to have a villain like Patrick Reed. What do you think?
No, I agree. And we had Patrick on after the show, and I asked him, do you like being the villain? He goes, yeah, look, I got no problem with it. It is who I am. I'm always going to wear my emotions on the sleeve. And if we can get, like, a Jordan or a Ricky and have these guys or even, Dustin Johnson, some of these guys and Justin Thomas suddenly staying at the top and fighting each other, that's exactly what you want, right? You want conflict.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And so, yeah, you're right. That would be fun, right? Because Jordan Spieth, he is golf. He looks like golf. He is golf, and he's a great golfer. So you have the guy that everyone loves. If you can get Jordan Spieth or a guy like Ricky Fowler or, as you pointed out, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson, all those guys, you get one of those guys. They're all about golf. They do it the right way. Their etiquette is fine on and off the course. You get one of those guys that gets Patrick Reed in a major in a final round. Trey, that's going to be so much fun if we get that.
Yeah, let me tell you what, I can't wait till these guys really stare meanly at one another. That'll be something else.
Get over yourself.
Or when they walk down the fairway and don't talk to one another. Look, he's ignoring him. Oh my God, the fisticuffs that are about that. You guys just stop it. By the way, Tiger Woods did file for entry into the U.S. Open, so he'll be playing at Shinnecock Hills, June 14th through the 17th, so we do have that. Back to basketball, not the playoffs now, but a coaching search. The Knicks, one of the teams looking for a head coach. Jay Wright's name has come out and said that's someone the Knicks may be interested in. What are your thoughts about that, a Jay Wright going from college to the pros, or a Mark Jackson or a Jeff Van Gundy or an established person who was a head coach?
You know, it's funny because I agree with Trey. I don't get some of these college coaches, and we don't know if Jay is leaving Villanova, but he's got it so good there. I mean, he has it so good, and he loves that school. He's from that city. They've won 2 national championships in 3 years. It doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. I love the idea of Jay Wright maybe being the Knicks head coach, but I don't know why Jay Wright would leave such a good situation to go to that situation, the New York Knicks. So, guys, the guy that I want, listen, in theory, right, you need good players. So in theory, yes, Mark Jackson seems like a perfect fit. Jeff Van Gundy, of course, he's a former Knicks coach. Mark Jackson played his college basketball at St. John's. He's from New York. It seems like a perfect fit. Neither of those guys are the guys that I want. I want David Fizdale. And listen, he was down here in Miami. He was an assistant coach under Eric Spoelstra. As Woj pointed out earlier on your show, Spoelstra's a Hall of Fame coach who was taught by another Hall of Fame coach in Pat Riley. There's a culture down here. It's one of the most respected teams, organizations in all of sports. It really is. And they've done a lot of winning. And David Fizdale has spent most of his career learning under Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. And he's a guy that's going to make his players accountable. They're going to work hard. They're going to get better. And that's the guy I'd like as the next Knicks head coach.
Yeah, he kind of got a raw deal in how he left the Grizzlies.
He absolutely did, Trey. You're right. No, he got a team that wasn't very good to the playoffs in the first season, then they just got rid of him. You know, they chose Marc Gasol over David Fizdale, which didn't sit well with a lot of the players on that team. But I'm telling you, man, like, he was down here for a while. He's a really good guy. He's animated. He has his players' backs. He's a great coach. And again, he's learned under 2 Hall of Famers. He's the guy I'd like to get, the Knicks to go get.
Plus, he gave us one of the great drops of all time. Take that for data. That alone should get him another head coaching job. All right, so let's talk about a team that probably isn't respected in the same way as some of these other teams you're talking about, and that would be the Marlins as they go through repoint 8.4.
Oh, boy.
You have Giancarlo Stanton, who has struggled, and look, it's all or nothing with Giancarlo Stanton. Either hits home runs or he strikes out 4,000 times. Obviously, the Yankee fans have been less than enthused with the number of strikeouts, and now people are trying to say, hey, here's what you should do, and here's what you shouldn't do when it comes to booing. I get it. This is not something you're in favor of.
It's not, Trey. I'd be interested because I know you're a Yankee fan. I'd be interested in your opinion. I am so tired of the media who goes to games for free, okay? And they sit around and they eat the free food and they get the free seats and they're watching the game and they don't really care about the team the way the fans care about the team. I'm so tired of media members telling fans, as long as fans aren't crossing the line, and booing is certainly not crossing the line, I am so tired of media members telling fans how to act because Yankee fans are getting crushed right now at the mere fact that they have booed Giancarlo Stanton a couple of times. He's had 2 5-strikeout games. Do me a favor. Don't tell me as a fan, if you're a media member, how to act when it comes to my favorite team. That's how fans are. One at bat, Giancarlo Stanton is the favorite player on the team. We'll get a standing ovation. And the next at bat, if he strikes out in a big spot, we're going to boo him. It's bat to bat. It's day to day. That's the way fans are. Media members who have a problem with it, I do not care, and stop telling us how to act.
Well, look, that's a great point because let's be honest. If he has 40 home runs and hits 280 and has close to 100 RBIs, they won't boo him every time he strikes out. But right now, it's too much of this and not enough of that.
Right. He's not giving you enough on the other end. Like, he's just striking out right now. But I promise you, having Giancarlo Stanton down here in a Marlins jersey for as long as we did, I'm telling you, there's a 15 to 20 home run month coming, and Yankee fans are going to love it. And I don't care that they booed him, and I'm not going to get on him when they cheer him when he has that great stretch. That's just the way fans are, man. Listen, sometimes, I love the Jets. The next day, it's like drive to drive with the New York Jets. I'll hate the Jets on one drive, and the next drive I'll love them. And that's just the way fans are.
Listen, I could not agree more. Fans have every right to boo whenever they want. Just don't cross the line. Yes. And as you said, booing is not crossing the line. You want to boo, go ahead and boo. All right, NBA playoffs are going to start. Do you think we're going to get the 4th year in a row matchup, Golden State, Cleveland? If not, which of those teams won't be there?
I think that's exactly what we're getting, Mike. Mike, what do you think here? Are you wavering at all?
Nope.
LeBron James, what do you think is going? No?
Nope, not
you
at all.
You don't think they're getting to the NBA? No NBA Finals for LeBron this year.
No, they are getting. They're getting there.
Oh, okay, you got it.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
good. All right.
they in Golden State. I have them there going 4 years in a row.
Because I said earlier this week, I'm giving all media members who are saying, because they did it last year, remember this, Mike? They did it last year. They're not playing well defensively. They're not going to make it to the NBA Finals. I'm giving all members of the media, COB today, whoever chose any other team in the East to make it to the NBA Finals, you will have till close of business today to change that pick. Because I am keeping notes, and I'm telling you, I'm going to get on you for picking another team outside of the Cavaliers. So you have close of business today to change that pick. Yes, the Cavs and the Warriors will play in the NBA Finals.
We're in agreement.
And across all media platforms, people are cowering at the COB challenge.
Listen, I'm telling
Stugotz.
you, Trey, I have a list. It's weird. I have a list. It's in this bag that I bring in every day to work. I know who hasn't picked the Cavs, and I'm telling them they have till the end of today to change that pick, or I am going to start crushing them once the Cavs, one by one, going to start crushing them as the Cavs make it to the NBA Finals.
I love this.
How about that?
I love this. I love this. This is great. I'm with you. I don't think I've ever seen a team reboot themselves 4 times in one season. And that's the thing that I find most fascinating about Cleveland going forward. All right, Stu, always good to talk to you, and hopefully the U.S. Open will give us a little more of what we didn't have at the Masters.
I hope so, Trey. You see behind me? See what it is?
Yeah.
See? Behind me, Trey.
Stu, hold on. Today's a big day. 70 degrees here. 70.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So what do you have, like a 10:08 tea time? What's the deal?
Peg goes in the ground pretty quick today. Let's just put it that way. All right, Stu, we'll talk to you next week.
I want me, you, and Golic to play golf one day. And I just want me and Golic in my golf cart with the music blaring, drinking beers. I want to see how Wingo handles that.
Done.
Mike.
Oh, listen, I play with the speaker on the cart, so we're good.
Oh, I've
got the portable speaker with the cart, so we are good there. We are good.
All right, we'll get down here, and maybe what we should really see is have the other members at my course handle this.
There you go. Hashtag bonding show meeting. We'll get the company to pay for it.
Like that.
Piece of cake. Done.
All right, Stugotz.
It's all in unison.
Trey, I am so proud of you. You're expensing the trip. I am so
Come
proud
on,
of you.
we'll get it.
Excellent job.
It's important. It's important to hash out strategies. It's a leadership conference.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
good suits do all the time. It's a leadership conference for us. Hashtag air quotes. All right, Stu, we'll talk to you later.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
Yeah, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And then we have guys like Jeff Saturday, our NFL analyst, who's jamming to Fly Like an Eagle with Steve Miller.
Oh, my gosh.
That's up your wheelhouse, right?
Who's in charge of the music?
That's Mikey C.
Mikey C, how old are you?
I'm 40.
I love
There
it.
you go.
You are right in my wheelhouse, bro.
Rock solid and market wise.
I always thought he was like 52.
Well, that's because he only looks 57. That's a separate issue entirely.
That was awful. I'll take that for you. I apologize for even starting that.
Again, Saturday joins us in studio. Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Before we dive into football, and by the way, how tan you are, which we have that discussion as well.
Oh, yes, we can.
We just had that discussion with Stugotz last 20 minutes or so about where we would have our air quotes leadership conference on the golf course.
Yes.
Pinehurst is rolling in.
They
won us. They won us. Even though you didn't know that Pinehurst number 6 was an actual thing.
No, I did not.
That one time.
Does that matter?
No, not now.
Okay, then.
Our great friends at Pinehurst saying, hey, come have your leadership conference here. The Cradle, a short course where ESPN Golic can walk. Music plays in the afternoon. Wingo's and Stugotz.
We're Golic and what?
Walk.
Walk.
It's a short course.
They don't have golf carts?
They do.
By short course, do you mean it's a par 3 course?
There you go.
If it's a par 3 course, I'm good.
Golic is a true fat man all the way to his soul.
And let me tell you what.
We don't walk, Wingo. It is all about the cart.
Every third hole at the tee box, there better be a keg.
I got so much respect for you right now, Golic. You have no idea. All about the golf carts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yes, it is.
So we'll get that going.
Yeah, we will.
It'll be expensed as a leadership conference on how to incorporate and meld shows together.
Bonding. It's all about bonding.
It's all about making it's all about corporate synergy. Is what it really is. That's a good word.
Good term. Good word.
All right, before we get into football, dude, where were you recently?
I was in the Bahamas.
Oh, dude. Okay, can I just tell you something? This is why I want to come back in my next life as an analyst and not a host. Okay? Because I run into Saturday in Maui. I ran into you at Maui after our little break after the season. And that's like my little breath where I can get away. And then you work 2 days in April, 2 days in March. You come back to the Bahamas. Where's next on the Jeff Saturday hit parade?
Listen, it's all about tanning, toning, enjoying life in the offseason. I truly have
tanning,
an off-season.
Toning, and tanking, if you know what I mean.
Wow. Life is good right now. Life is good.
Yeah, it's just doing that because you got to get ready for spring ball in high school, which can always be really fun.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
All right, well, good for you. I'm glad you had a really good time in the Bahamas, Jeff. But let's talk about what's going on in the NFL right now. First and foremost, this Jarvis Landry contract I find very interesting. Looks like he's going to get a long-term deal with Cleveland. And look, Jarvis is a hell of a player. There's no way about it. But the type of player he is, as opposed to what they're potentially paying him for, he's in the Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Mike Evans salary range.
Money, right.
We just don't see him as that type of game-breaking wideout, do we?
No, here's what I think from Dorsey, who's their general manager in Cleveland. This is my thought. He wanted a tough guy, right? And Landry is that. And what Landry does bring you, he catches short balls and he can accelerate out of the catch and do some things with the ball in his hands that are special. So let's say the guy's running a ton of dig routes. He's going to go get you 5 or 10 extra yards. But the other part is he blocks. He'll put his body on the line. He will throw his body in harm's way. So he'll help your run game. But the attitude he's going to bring you in your locker room. I mean, you think with Josh Gordon and Coleman, he is going to be the leader of that room. And I think that's ultimately what Cleveland's paying for, is they want a guy who comes in and he is about the business of being the guy. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to give you everything I got, and everybody around me better bring this type of energy. And I think that's what ultimately, that's the value they're getting from him. And now, is he Julio? Is he all those things? He has not shown, but the guy he's averaged 100 balls a season.
He's catching the ball.
That's that ain't something to shake a stick at.
He's catching the ball.
That's playing good.
You can look at 8 yards a catch of the year before that, 10 yards, year before 12 yards. Both those 2 years were over 1,100 yards. Is he moving the chains, getting first downs? Those can be key things there. And with Cleveland, they could use all of that. But as you mentioned, if there's a locker room prep, we'll see. He didn't stay in Miami for a reason as well. They seem to be getting rid of people who they deemed maybe not the best attitude-wise.
But I tell you, that shows you, and I will say this about Dorsey, because I was with him for a brief time in Green Bay. He is an old-school football he's got an old-school football mentality. He is about bringing in guys who are going to, they're going to be rough guys. They're going to play hard. They're going to bring you all types of energy. And I think he believes that he'll control the stuff that, like you're talking about. I would say this. In Miami, that thing got off the rails in a hurry. I think in Cleveland, he's trying to bring everything kind of together. They've already been awful. He's trying to do it a different way of, so I think it's two different mindsets from those two organizations as a whole.
Jeff Saturday is with us. Again, we're talking about this potential Jarvis Landry contract, which is going to be $16 million a year, which is what you pay, fast. Right?
Wow.
Julio Jones, it's what you pay Antonio Brown. It's not a knock on Jarvis at all. It's just everybody has a slotted amount of money against the cap and what your expectations are when you give somebody that kind of money. I mean, Julian Edelman's a hell of a productive receiver.
Right.
There's no way the Patriots would ever think about paying him this kind of salary.
Right.
Same thing with Danny Amendola. Danny Playoffs is his name.
Right.
For God's sakes, and what he's done the last couple of years. Now he's in Miami. Basically, they've replaced Jarvis Landry with Danny Amendola. They might get the same kind of production. Maybe not 100 catches, but he's going to do that underneath stuff to keep drives alive. Right. They're just willing to pay him, $6 million a year as opposed to $15 million a year.
Right, yeah. And like you said, the money part, you'll have to see if that justifies itself by what he does. But the guy is productive. I mean, the one thing I heard people yesterday when this was getting kind of talked about, the guy catches the football. I mean, 100 catches a year. He's doing something. And by the way, he's going into a situation where they have been awful. He's going to bring you something, at least he's bringing you something, that attitude that will change the dynamic. Gordon hadn't played in for, you know what I mean, until last year. He's been out, suspended, all those things. At least this guy has been there and done what, kind of done on the field what you would want.
And if Josh Gordon can stay on the field, he's the stretch guy. He's the guy that's going to stretch the defense, which may even open it up even more for Landry underneath. So,
and you're hoping Coleman will finally do something.
Exactly.
I know he's been hurt, but
the receivers last year that went in that first round, and not a whole lot out of those guys. All right, the situation up in Seattle, they were going to have Colin Kaepernick come in for a workout, and then asked him about his stance on standing or kneeling. Didn't give him the answer it seems they wanted, so they canceled the visit.
Yeah.
Whatever angle you want to look at it, from Seattle side or still the Colin Kaepernick side, what did you think of that situation?
Listen, I was shocked by the way it was handled. I mean, that was the reasoning. I mean, that question was the one that you asked and you kind of set your camp against, or whatever that looked like. I was very surprised, because the owners have been discussing this all offseason. They've been doing a ton of studies and demographic studies, I'm sure, on their fans, where the fans align, how are they going to do this. I mean, listen, they make billions of dollars for a reason. These guys aren't just, throwing their hat in the game. They understand what.
Some of them fall into this money. Well, there's some owners, like Paul Allen has made his money, but there are lots of NFL owners that just said, really?
Bottom line is they still get to make the decision.
Yes. Right. Yeah. They're ultimately making that final call. So, for whatever reason, and it's surprising to me in Seattle, because from a team perspective, this team has really allowed their players to be who they are on and off the field, and have won and been successful in that realm. But for whatever reason, they decided to ask this question. In my opinion, it just didn't make sense from them. Whether you agree or disagree, and with the kneeling stance or whatever that looks like, it was a bad move by Seattle to let that be the defining question. They could have brought him in, or decided, hey, listen, we're going to go a different direction. We've decided we're going to sign this other kid, so we appreciate it, but we've moved on, and never broached that subject. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're bringing press to yourself.
I agree with that, but isn't that what every other team is doing by not bringing him in? Because we know at this point it's not about football.
Sure.
Right? It's not. Right. So if they're not bringing him in, they obviously have a problem. And if they did all that research that says, you know what, we don't want any part of this,
right,
and are making the decision that we don't want to bring him in, that doesn't make them wrong or right. It just makes it their decision.
Yes, their decision, right.
But I guess the difference is Seattle made it public in saying, we're not bringing him in because we didn't get an answer there. But every other team has really been saying that as well by not bringing him in, correct?
No, that's a great point. The one thing I would say that is interesting for me is, because you can look at it from two different sides, and you are. But from Seattle's side, is it a better PR move or a better move for them as an organization to say we're not going to bring a guy in who's going to kneel?
Right.
Like, is that going to galvanize the 12th man and whatever else their fan base is called? Does that galvanize that group? I mean, because you can think of it either way, right? I mean, we have no idea what they're talking about, what kind of research they're doing, or all those conversations. But to your point, why he's not playing. There's no secret to that. But I think ultimately it's their decision, and people either vote with their pocketbook. They're either going to say, hey, I'm going to support the Seahawks, or I'm going to support the NFL, whatever that is. They have their right to do that, but it's obviously not an issue that the NFL feels they're going to lose, fan base on making this stance.
One of the interesting things, though, is just how quickly things have changed in Seattle.
Sure have.
That would have been, hey, everybody can do whatever they want. Say, Sherman out, Bennett out,
gone,
everybody gone. It's gone really quickly as Pete Carroll is attempting to reboot the system up there.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So, it was all good.
It's Golic and Wingo.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to another week. It's a bad start. It's a bad start.
Who's back from vacation?
You would have think we'd be back.
What was that?
You would have think we had just gotten.
Oh, wow. Okay, nice try.
Jumbo!
The best part of that is you just went full Jumbo.
Jumbo.
There. That was the best part.
That in
on your little
Africa,
trip. Yeah.
Means hello. Good morning. Golic and Wingo reminding you that baseball is back. Tune in tomorrow as the World Series champion Astros host the Rangers, presented by Barbasol. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com, and the ESPN app.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, and Barbasol, presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guest on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jeff Saturday with us, tanned, beautiful, ready to roll. So we got a lot to get into here. The draft is coming up, and I want to get into that, and we'll get to that in a second. But first and foremost, we talked a lot about Jarvis Landry and his potential new contract and what that means for the Browns. Des Bryant is meeting today with Jerry Jones. Des Bryant is due $16.5 million over the last 2 years. Let's be honest. That isn't happening.
No.
So how does this end with Des Bryant and Dallas going forward? Is it over? Do they work something out? What do you think?
Jerry is about to put he's about to put some negotiation on Des. I mean, here's going to be the issue for Des. Des is still productive. I think he had close to 70 catches last year. I don't remember the last time he had a 1,000-yard season, but he's still effective in what he's doing. But he's not the guy he once was. And for people to think that he is for that kind of money, it's just not going to be there. My question for him will be, does he want to finish a Dallas Cowboy? And I think ultimately it's going to be put to him that way. If you want to finish it, you have to get into a reasonable number, because he's definitely not going to make that money if he goes to any team that's going to be competing in the playoffs. I mean, you think of areas where he could possibly go, whether you're thinking New England has done, deals with guys like Dez later in their career. Green Bay could potentially do, they would need another guy that could kind of be a big guy, possession style receiver, all those kinds of options. But none of those teams are paying. Those teams are winning. They're not paying guys like Dez huge money. So it's, do you want to stay in Dallas and make probably the same amount of money you're going to make somewhere else and be a Cowboy and be in this, or do you want to go somewhere else and start over again? Because I honestly don't believe, especially where we are. Listen, we're in April, right? We're about to have the draft. There's not a ton of money floating around each team. They've already spent their money. So it's not that there's a bunch of money out there they can just, download a ton of cash for Dez. And they're also going to want to see what draft picks they get. I just think, in my opinion, it's, do you want to be a Cowboy? And I think he should. I mean, in my opinion, going to start somewhere else, you're going to make the same money, man. And the system, who you're working with, all of those things. There's value in that, in my opinion.
He had a 3-year run from 2012 to 2014. Each year he was at least over 1,200 yards, and in those 3 years he had 41 touchdown receptions.
Well,
so
in 2014 he had 16.
A good 3-year span right there. Over to the draft. All the talk in the world about the quarterbacks. You're an O-lineman. I want you to talk about the best O-lineman in this draft, Quentin Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame, why he's going to go so high and what makes him stand out.
Big, nasty. I tell you, this kid, I think the balance, I have very rarely seen a guy who has the ability to be dominant on both sides. You see a lot of guys come out of college who are maulers. They're going to throw you around, throw you out of the club, all those things, knock you on the ground, finish. But very few can translate that to the pro passing game. He is a very balanced. He is an extremely good technician in his pass pro. So he takes a good set. He keeps his feet where they're supposed to be. He doesn't come out of his hips and lose his balance over the front. All of those things. I know people think that is serious technician, and that is serious work that he's put in college. And so as I look at him, all the stuff that people get excited about, the finishing at the end, all that is exciting. In my opinion, it's, you find him on a team where you're going to go play Jacksonville twice a year. You're going to go play the Rams twice a year. Whatever that might be, right? Like, let's go find where you're going to go lock up on Sue or Aaron Donald, one-on-one, and we can let the center slide the other direction. That's the value that he brings to you as a guard. Because I know people say it's going to be a stretch to get a guard that high, but this guy can flat out play.
We've seen the value. We've seen the value of offensive linemen over these last couple of years.
You have to have a good offensive line to contend. Real quick story on Nelson, as I love telling stories about these kids. He has 2 sisters and a brother, and his mother and father, they're all athletic, all competitive. They had legendary 3-on-3 basketball games between the family, and one time his mom actually broke a wrist taking a charge on the asphalt on the 3-on-3, and as they were driving her to the hospital, they were debating whether or not her feet were moving, whether it was a block or a charge.
I love it.
This is how competitive that family is. I mean, right? You know him. Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world.
Uh-huh. Next, you're holding up the line, ma'am.
What did you say?
You're next in line for the water slide, ma'am. Feet forward and enjoy the ride.
Okay, dearie. This does look fun. Whee! Oh, you melted me. I've melted.
The Wicked Witch of the West on a water slide? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
See what you've done! Oh!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Golic and Wingo with you on a Friday morning, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And, of course, that is Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, also featured on our Amazon Music playlist, the simplest way to listen to the music you love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at AmazonMusic.com. It renews automatically, and you can cancel anytime. But then again, why would you want to cancel?
Why would you?
When you have that kind of music at your fingertips. The music, look, for us, been great this morning.
Yes, it has.
I love it. And Jeff Saturday, he was into the Steve Miller.
Yeah, he was. Good music.
Last hour. Yeah,
good music. I talked
solid.
About that when I was at the Monday After the Masters. Great music there. The golf, while I got rained out, it was great music. So got to enjoy that. Always love great music. Can always put you in a good mood.
Correct. Even
always.
On the golf course.
Yes, it can.
It makes you look. The whole thing about golf, you want to be relaxed.
I have, Doug, golfing in the tournaments I have, especially a lot again with Charlie Weiss's brother Pat. He always has the speaker out there. I would think some people wouldn't really like music playing while they're golfing.
Awesome.
It's fantastic.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, I love it.
Tension is the enemy of the swing. Mm-hmm. So whatever can make you more. That's why you know what you call a cold beer? Swing oil.
Call a cold beer family.
Swing oil.
Yeah.
You call a cold beer family.
Listen, I put way too much oil on my swing then.
Hey, whatever works for you, that's all that matters. So we got a lot to get to, including a really interesting guest coming up in just a minute. But first, let's start with what's trending, and that's the NBA playoff picture begins Saturday and Sunday, April 15th. Indiana Pacers and Cleveland Cavaliers, ESPN Radio and ABC at 3 o'clock. Now, the BPI odds give Indiana?
No.
Give LeBron.
Give the Cavaliers 62%. Yeah, listen, I'm still with Cleveland. I still think it's going to be Cleveland and Golden State.
Cleveland again.
I do like the fact, though, that there is question marks in both conferences, though, about who is going to make it there.
It's certainly more than what was it 12-0 last year for Golden State and 12-1 for Cleveland. That's not happening.
In the East, we talked to Boston for a while until the injuries took them away. So Toronto is still there, but obviously Philadelphia is the monster talk in the East right now. Though there are some that think they'll have a heck of a series with Miami, and then in the West, I mean, we see what Utah's done. We see what New Orleans has done. Certainly Houston at the top of that conference. So while I'm looking forward to it all. I do think we picked all the series earlier. I think I picked Cleveland in 5 in this one over the Pacers. And Pacer fans have been just incredible on Twitter saying how disrespected they are in all of the talk about teams and what they can do and such. I've
never quite understood
that the Pacers aren't getting enough talk in all of this.
I've never quite understood that part of it, the disrespect by people not talking about them. If your team plays and wins, that all changes.
That does. You're not playing well for them. And one of the awards I think they do, while I was wrong about the comeback player of the year, there is a most improved player,
Victor
I believe,
Oladipo.
Brett. And Oladipo looks like the guy
By the way, part of the Paul George trade.
Yeah, exactly right.
To Oklahoma City. So, again, the respect thing is great fuel for your fire, I guess, but the more you win, the more you'll be talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
So that sort of one takes care of the other.
Pacer fans, you beat the Cavaliers, you're going to get talked about.
That's exactly right.
Okay? You'll get talked about. That's exactly right.
You will end a 7-year run of LeBron James's teams going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that will generate talk. There's no question about it. Meanwhile, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson among potential candidates to replace Jeff Hornacek in New York. And then, of course, they might have reached out to Jay Wright in Villanova as well.
How about that? With Jay Wright, we talked about would he go to another college if he got the chance because he's so successful at Villanova right now, or would it be to jump to the NBA? A, would be a great money grab, no doubt about it. And B, It all depends on the person. I've always said this about coaches and players, be it free agency or when you have a choice. What's your motivation? How long you been in one spot? Do you want a ring if you don't have a ring? Do you want money? Is it location? For Jay Wright, would it be, I want to try it in the NBA. I've been successful on the college level. Do I want to try it at the highest level? So we'll see. Or is New York a place where, I know Scott Perry, the GM, has said it doesn't, name value doesn't matter. It's all about winning. And I get it. I mean, that's the easiest sentence in the world. But would New York like to see, and New York fans like to see, a Mark Jackson or a Jeff Van Gundy? They like to see that. Two guys.
Well, they'd love to see Jeff Van Gundy.
Two guys who had been incredibly successful. Remember, there was a Golden State team built up
by
before Steve Kerr took over by Mark Jackson. So, and that's what this team needs in New York. They need to be built up, built around Porzingis coming off the injury. That's certainly a question mark, and not relying on the fact that, we're going to get these major free agents, because I don't think they are. So this coach is going to have to build from what you have, build from the draft as well, and from trades.
And again, while a coach that's familiar with people in New York, or a coach that has had success in New York is wonderful, if you don't have the right players, none of that matters. And that more than anything else will be the issue for the coach and the GM, Scott Perry, going forward. Shohei Ohtani just continues to deliver. 3-run triple in the Angels' 7-1 win. So he's delivering for his team.
Yes, he is.
He's also delivering for their fans.
This is awesome. Before the game starts, batting practice or whatever, when the players are just out mingling around, and that's when a lot of people, especially kids, can get autographs. And there was a 6-year-old boy who got a little bold and not only wanted an autograph, but he asked Shohei for his bat.
I love that.
And he got it. Ohtani gave him the bat. And what he said through his interpreter, Shohei said, he looked really sad when he was asking me. He really wanted that bat, so I gave it to him. Hopefully he can swing the bat and become a good player someday, but I can't be doing this all the time or I'll run out of bats.
Yeah.
Quick note.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
That's true.
You could give away a bat a game easily if you wanted to. They'll make more.
It's like that old Lay's potato chip. Don't worry, we'll make more.
Yeah.
Shohei, your bats are covered.
Yeah,
you'll be good.
Yeah. Your bat locker will never be empty.
Yeah. We don't know much.
No.
The one thing we do know,
we're sure
they will always find lumber for you to use. All right, we continue here on Golic and Wingo. Glad you're with us. We get to run up. We're inside 2 weeks of the NFL draft. We'll be there for the draft in Dallas. I, of course, will be hosting the draft all 3 days. It's one of my favorite things to do all year because I love the stories of the players.
Yes, agreed.
You look at the players and people look at them as products. They're not products, they're people. And everyone has a different story of how they got to this potential of where they are and what they might be at the next level. And one of those players that we're going to talk about during the draft joins us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and that is University of Texas offensive lineman, first team All Big 12 consensus All-American left tackle Connor Williams. Connor, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Yes, thank you for having me.
It is our delight, and I want to read something to everybody that sort of really sparked my interest, along with watching you during your last year here at the University of Texas. This was something that you put out on NFL.com, and it was a letter, and it was entitled to Dear Bullies of My Past. Thank you. No sarcasm intended, no hatred, certainly no anger. Just a simple thank you. Honestly, I don't know how I could have accomplished what I have so far without your teasing, without your isolation, without your rumor mongering, your harassment, your beatings, your constant torment. I've come a long way from those days, and I truly owe it all to you. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write that letter.
So at my time at Texas, I was fortunate enough to do a show with Longhorn Network, and I got out about my bullying, and I was bullied a little bit when I was younger, but not only that, but how to handle it and how to overcome it and how to lean on your family to overcome that adversity and how far you can come from that, and that being little like that, it makes you stronger and makes you who you are. And so after that, a lot of people reached out, and I got a lot of good feedback from it. And I mean, of course I knew, but then I started to realize even more that there were people that were going through the same struggle with now. And so being able to write that letter and reach out and maybe touch a kid that's in need, that's hurting, that needs something like that, to pick them up, even if it's a little. I mean, I'll speak up as all day long if that will help anyone.
Yeah, for those that don't understand and haven't read the whole letter, you go into great lengths about, you were an overweight kid with a speech impediment, and kids were really, and kids can be so mean at that age.
Yeah, they can. And people will look at you, Connor, and see you're this 6'6", 300-pounder who could first, second round selection, you're going to play in the NFL. So Take us back to that time so we can give people a bit of a picture, because they see you now, what you were then, and some of the things that were happening to you.
Of course, at that age, kids don't know better. Kids pick and prod, and I was different. I didn't really fit in, and I was overweight. I was bigger than everyone, so I didn't really have friends. So it wasn't as much as a physical abuse, more as a mental from my classmates, but also from myself, of just not being able to fit in and not being happy with myself.
Yeah, and then there was a point in that letter where you said, at some point you said, that's it, I've had enough, I'm not happy anymore, I want to change myself. And you went to your dad, who, by the way, was one of your greatest supporters. You guys went to movies all the time, and he was always there for you. And he said he was waiting for you to say those words, so instead of just dealing with it, you wanted to start doing something about it.
Yes, and he didn't want to force me into it. He understood if I wanted to change, I would have to change myself, that nobody could make me want to change. And so a time came in about 7th or 8th grade where I said enough's enough, and that it's time to put my own destiny in my own hands and help change myself and help change the situation I'm in. And so we got at it every day since then. And of course, that transitioned into high school football and different training, but it all started with that.
And now, again, we're talking to Connor Williams from Texas, who's being the first round, second round, be a high pick in this year's draft. So then you become this star player, so the platform gets bigger. And then when you talk about this, tell us about what you've heard from younger people, if you've heard from them, what they've had to say about you being open about this.
It's honestly been amazing, and they reach out to me on all platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, and it's just messages and messages of stories of how it touched them and it reached them, and that they were going through the same struggle, and it helped them, and even parents reaching out saying that they got something from it and were able to help their child through it or talk to their child about it, and just show that, they're not the only person going through it.
Well, listen, you go into great detail, and it is amazing. And as you've sort of seen this transformation, you did this with really no expectations, as Connor Williams, All-American lineman from the University of Texas, joins us. You went into this just because you wanted to do it. You didn't have an expectation that you would be an All-American at Texas, or you would be a starting lineman, or you would be a potential first-rounder. You just went in this because you wanted to change your surroundings, right?
Yes, sir. I had no idea that I'd even be able to play college football. I just wanted to make a difference of who I am, and I'm feeling better about myself. And it turned into putting that effort from training into football, and then eventually just took off beyond anything that me or my parents ever expected.
Connor, I'm interested, and I know the effect you're having on those that have been bullied, and you become, an inspiration to them about talking what you went through. Let me go the other way. What would you say to those young kids who bullied you? What would you say to young kids out there right now who are bullying others, from your side of it, and to what they're doing and how they're hurting people? What would you say to them?
At the end of the day, kids are going to be kids. And I think looking back at it, the kids did not know the effect that they were taking on me. And I think a lot of the people didn't know, but at the end of the day, and even in my story, I try not to give the kids names, because it's not about them. It's about adversity and overcoming adversity. And whether it's a bully or whether it's a hardship in your life or family issues, then it's just going to be how you handle that adversity. And so it wasn't per se about the bully. It was about how to overcome adversity. And at the end of the day, as I said in my letter, I'm glad I went through it, because it made me stronger. It made me who I am.
Connor Williams with us, NFL potential draftee, could be a first-rounder, All-American at the University of Texas, all Big 12 as well. Again, his story was chronicled in a letter on NFL.com about some of the things he went through when he was a kid that could have had some real trouble fitting in, and some of the bullying and the torment that he went through. And he thanked all those guys, said thank you for that. So I'm just curious, there's a couple things forward now, Connor, going forward. Number one, how much do how much have teams asked you about that letter, asked you about your past? And number two, what has this experience been like as you get set potentially to hear your name and inside of 2 weeks being called as a first-round draftee?
As far as teams asking about it, every so often a coach will bring it up and mention how he read it and how inspired he was or how amazing of a story it was. And as far as the whole draft process, and I mean it's surreal. I mean I was in high school 3.5-4 years ago. I didn't have an offer 4 years ago, and the fact that I'm in this situation right now is I'm beyond blessed, and it's a dream come true for me and my family, and I mean I'm just living a dream right now.
So, Connor, let's switch to that now and go through the process. You probably will never have to run a 40 or do a high jump or a broad jump again. Thank God that stuff's out of the way. It's always interesting preparing for things you never really do on the football field. So, take us to this process now. We know you visited the Patriots and what other teams?
Minnesota, I think
Minnesota
you was with.
Have visited as well. So, how have those gone, and what have you been hearing from these teams?
Yeah, so I've had many private workouts and many visits, and have a couple more, and of course, excited the combine's over. It's definitely a weird experience. Pretty much, you can sum it up that the last 3 months has been a job interview all the way up until your name gets called, and I mean that's what it is. It's a job interview, and so it's tiring, but at the end of the day, it's what you have to do to eventually get into the NFL.
All right, as far as position, it's interesting. We always talk about, in this draft, it's been Lamar Jackson. Should he be a quarterback? Does he think about switching to wide receiver? And he obviously, a lot of people believe, I'm one of them, he should be going in there as a quarterback. I think a lot of people don't understand how difficult it can be on the offensive line to change positions. So for you, what is your thought process? Tackle, left tackle, right tackle, guard? Do you have a preference? Does it matter to you? What have teams said about that?
I'll tell you, as I've told the coaches, I mean, honestly, I would love to play tackle, but wherever the team needs me, wherever the coach would like to put me and put me at and see if I can succeed there, then I'm willing to do it. I mean, I've been snapping the ball for some coaches. I've been running through guard pools, and I've been playing tackle.
A little bit of everything there as we're talking with Connor Williams, a potential first-round draft pick. Coming up in the draft in Dallas in a couple of weeks. Really not too far away from your hometown of Coppell, where you played your high school football. So with that being in mind, you've talked about this, Connor, being a dream from where you were as a kid to where you are now. Do you have a dream scenario in your mind of where you would like to play, where you would like someone to hear your name being called?
I mean, no, nowhere in particular. I mean, just to hear my name get called is going to be beyond real.
Well, listen, I can promise you this much. It will be called.
It's going to get called.
It's going to be called. The question is whether it'll be in the first round or potentially the second round. Look, Connor, I read that letter on NFL.com, and I said, this is a guy I want to talk to, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and helping other people who might be going through some of the things that you went through as a kid.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
no worries,
Connor.
man. Connor,
Appreciate
best of luck to you, and we'll look forward to hearing your name called at the draft.
All right now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Connor.
Connor Williams.
I'm with you. It's almost like the Hall of Fame speeches when I hear those players talk. I know their stats. I don't care about them. I want to hear the story.
Correct.
And every single player in this draft or every single player in every sport, they have a story on how they got there. And this is an incredible story. He'll reach more people through this than through playing football. Yeah. Obviously, it's what he wants to do for his living is playing football, and he's going to get every opportunity in the world to do that. But the people he has reached because of that letter and being open about it and not taking the negative tone of it and saying, I thank you for this.
Yeah.
It helped make me the person I am today is really incredible maturity out of him and the backing of his family as well.
Right. One of the things that I found interesting as you read through this entire letter, never once did he say he was angry at them or he's doing it in spite. He was genuinely thankful for all the hurtful things that they did, because it did. They got to a point where he said to his dad, I just don't want to be this anymore. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And his dad said, then I'll do whatever you want. And they got up every day, the two of them, in their garage, worked out at about 5:30 in the morning to get himself in shape. He never thought he would play high school football. Then he gets an offer to go play at the University of Texas, becomes an All-American. And just some of the things, just to read through that he goes through in great detail. He said about when he was in middle school, you even have the talent to take the smallest joys I had and turn them into sorrow. Remember that cool eraser I had in middle school, the round flappy one? Remember how you pretended you liked it too and asked if you could see it while boarding the school bus? Maybe not, but you surely recall what you said. It looks like a piece of ham. Eat it, fatty. And these were the things he went through on a daily basis until he said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be this anymore. And he used that as the motivation to turn his life around, and now he's staring at a potential first-round pick in the NFL.
It's incredible. And
it's an unbelievable story.
You can see the work ethic there, saying, I'd like to play tackle, but I'll play wherever you want me. He's a guy that understands he may be there. He may be at a different position, actually snapped. And if you heard him say that, I've been snapping, he was also playing center as well, right, to make himself more valuable to a team. If it's not going to work at this position, it can work at another position. You know what it is? It's a guy you root for.
Exactly.
It's a guy you root for because of that story and because he's open with it and he's helping others with it. It's just someone you want to say, man, I hope this kid succeeds.
He's found a way to get past what was a very dark time in his life, and he's using that to help other kids who might be going through the same thing. Right now, Mel Kiper Jr. has him rated as the third best offensive tackle in this draft class. We'll see where he ends up, and we will absolutely chronicle his story on our coverage of the draft. Coming up, Shohei, the best day, and mayo mixed with ketchup. Love it or shove it next.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash."
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
They're everywhere, baby.
It's time for another edition of Love It or Shove It.
That didn't go well.
With Golic and Wingo.
And Love It or Shove It is brought to you by Grainger, the ones that get it done. All right, Bubba, what do we got?
The Warriors and Cavs will meet again in the NBA Finals. Love it or shove it.
I love it. Last year was the first time NBA history two teams met for 3 straight. I think it's going to be 4 straight. I still think both teams come out. I do like the fact that there's big time question marks for both teams this time around instead of what we have seen, especially last year on the runs that these teams have made to the final. So I'm happy for that, but I think at the end of the day, they'll both be there. So I love it.
I think I'm going to shove it. And I think I'm going to shove it specifically in the West. I think that this is the year with the way the Warriors are a little beat up and the way there's maybe going to be some rust factor and the way, despite what Mike D'Antoni, the head coach, has said, that the Rockets are obsessed with finding a way to beat the Warriors. I think that they'll be the ones that get it done in the West. So I'm going to shove it. I think the Warriors won't get back. There you go. What do you think about that?
Okay.
Way to be enthusiastic.
He doesn't seem very enthusiastic.
I think he wasn't listening.
Ohtani will keep this up all season. Love it or shove it.
Okay, now what exactly are we saying he's going to keep up? And what exactly?
This.
Yeah, thank you. Could you be less specific? No. So what, are we saying he's going to be dominant hitting and pitching? Are we saying he's going to have the lowest ERA? What are we saying here?
Just going to keep this up. Your thoughts?
I'm going to shove it. Dude's 23 years old. It's his first time in the majors. It's a long season. He is going to hit lulls. It's going to come down. It's going to, he could have a really good year, especially with what we thought coming in, especially after the spring. But keep up this pace of what he's doing from the pitching side and really specifically the hitting side. I think it will be tough to keep up. Doesn't mean he's going to have a bad season, but to keep up where he is right now, I'm going to shove that and say it will even off a bit.
I'm going to shove it.
So hard.
I'm going to shove it because I don't know what this is. Like, Mike, let me ask you a question. Mike, let me ask you a question. Yeah. If I said, are you for this or against this? Wouldn't you want to know what this is?
But I know Shohei Ohtani in the 13 games I have seen.
Brett, help me out
what
here.
he has done.
Yeah.
So what he has done,
how easy is this
will
question?
he keep this up?
This is an easy question.
It really is an easy question.
You just say, shove it. He's not going to keep doing what he's doing.
No, that's my point. But this could you be a little less specific?
This is his body of work.
Yeah.
I'm shoving it all the way.
That's fair. You're allowed to shove it.
It's like pulling teeth sometime, isn't it?
Just be specific with your
question.
Are you for this or against this? What is this? I need to know.
I can look at Shoei's stats and say, can he keep this up? It's actually pretty easy. Spraying air at me. Go ahead.
Wow. Donovan Mitchell should win Rookie of the Year. Love it or shove it.
Obviously averaged more points than Ben Simmons did, and certainly averaged 22 points in their 29-6 run to close the season out. Man, Ben Simmons has that 6'9", 6'10", it for handling the ball and what he's done.
We know what this is with Ben.
Yeah, we really do, but would you say overall what Donovan Mitchell has done to help get this team? I mean, that you had Joel Embiid, obviously. Now you had Gobert, who could be the defensive player of the year out there as well. I might lean toward Mitchell in this one, so I may love this one, even though I think Ben's going to win it.
I think Ben will too, and I'm going to love it, and it has nothing to do with the technicality of whether you're an actual rookie or a guy playing in his first year.
Exactly.
Forget that.
Yeah.
Our great, good friend, Brett the researcher, threw me one of the greatest stats of all time. Donovan Mitchell leads his team in scoring. As a rookie, for a team that has leading your team in scoring that has at least 45 wins in a season,
right?
He would be the fifth player or the fourth player. I think the fifth, right? Because the other four, these are the other four that have pulled that off. Larry Bird,
right?
Will Chamberlain,
right?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and who's the other one I'm missing? There's one other one.
I'm not looking at it. I don't know.
Okay. But that's it. So if that's the list.
It's a small list.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So for him to do that on this team, again, they were under 500 and finished on a 29-6 run. So I would say love it. Absolutely. He would be my Rookie of the Year.
All right, another award. LeBron James should win MVP. Love it or shove it.
Wow. I mean, just the fact that what he has done 15 years in at 33 years old is ridiculous. The changing of the lineup after the trade deadline, the injuries you go through, and he has been the constant. First time he has ever played 82 games. He is the best player on the planet, but it's hard for me not to give it to James Harden leading the league in scoring and what he has done. Now, I know they are shooting threes all over the place. There's part of me that does think that LeBron will win, but I do, or should win, but I think he's caught in the Michael Jordan thing of he's
Correct.
the best player, but he's not going to win the MVP.
Correct.
So would I give it to LeBron James? Yes, I would. I would love that, but I don't think he's going to win it. I think Harden is going to win it.
So you're going to shove it?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to shove it as well for those exact same reasons. Remember when Charles Barkley or Karl Malone, I can't remember which one, won the MVP award? He said, I'd like to thank Michael Jordan for having a pseudo-off year so I could win this award. Michael Jordan should have won the MVP every year he played. LeBron James should probably win the award every year he plays. He's not going to get it this year. James Harden is going to get it. So for that reason, I'm going to shove it.
Jay Wright will be the next Knicks head coach. Love it or shove it.
Knicks supposedly going to reach out to Jay Wright. We've heard the other names mentioned as well, from Mark Jackson to Jeff Van Gundy, Jerry Stackhouse as well. Has done a great job coaching in the G League. Jay Wright, this seems to be the time, right? I mean, he's a hot name right now. He's been at Villanova a long time, 2 titles in the last 3 years. Now, it all depends. I have no idea what his thought is about, going to, away from Villanova, away from the Philadelphia, and going to New York. I have no clue. But this is about the hottest time that can be for him, correct?
Yes.
I mean, unless he goes off and pulls it off again next year. But I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he'll be the next coach of the Knicks. I'm going to shove it. I think he stays at Villanova.
I'm going to shove it as well, and we could be totally wrong. Look, we've seen Rick Pitino leave for the NBA. We've seen Billy Donovan leave Florida and then go back to Florida and then go back into the NBA. We saw John Calipari do that. I get the sense that Jay Wright is very comfortable in his own skin, and he's very comfortable in his surroundings. And Villanova, if they're smart, about to make him a lot more comfortable, if you know what I mean. Little upgrade in the pay position. So I'm going to what's the win for him outside of cash to going to New York? Because they're not any closer to being
the only thing
is
that pride factor of saying, I'm going to try and show I can be successful at the top level of basketball.
Can you be successful as the Knicks head coach?
No,
with the way things have gone right
difficult.
there and the way it is in the East.
Be difficult.
So I think Jay's a pragmatist, and I think he knows that he's probably got a lot of leverage right now. So I think I'm going to shove it. I think he's going to stay at Villanova.
All right, to football. Colin Kaepernick will never work out for another NFL team. Love it or shove it.
Last pass was January 1st, 2017. You're not even saying sign it with another. You're saying not even work out with another team. What's interesting, if he actually did come out and say, I will not, which is, again, this is where we are. Yeah. If he were to come out and say, I will not kneel anymore, I will stand. Eric Reed said that, correct?
Yep, and he got a visit with Cincinnati.
How many workouts would he then get? And I don't know. I don't know we don't even know what Colin would even say. What he's going to do unless he's talking to a team privately and still doesn't, isn't giving an answer it seems Seattle wanted to hear. So the way it stands now, I'm going to love that, which seems ridiculous because it's not even about football talent anymore.
No.
Because as far as football talent is concerned, he would be on a roster. But I'm going to love it and say if he has the stance that he has right now, another team is not going to work him out. You can scream and yell about it all you want. We're not talking about that situation. We're just talking about this in particular. I think if his stance stays the same, he will not get a workout with another team.
Boy,
and I hate loving that, by the way.
Yeah,
I hate loving that.
I'm going to shove it just because I want to believe that eventually he'll get at least a chance. I may be completely wrong, and I may be swinging at the dark, but at the end of the day, talent wins out most times, and he's better than a lot of quarterbacks that are in the NFL. That's not even close, not even debate. So I'm going to shove it. I'll say he'll at least get a workout.
All right, in honor of today, the first 70-degree day is the best day of the year. Love it or shove it.
See, I'll shove that because I love 60-degree day. I'll take coming off
anything of 40 and not sleet and
winter.
Snow.
Yeah, give me 55 and sunny, 60 and sunny, 65. I don't need 70. Because 60
I'd
or
prefer
50,
80.
I'm with you, but I don't need it to be 7-0 to make me happy. Yeah. It can be a little bit less than that, so I'll shove that.
I'm going to shove it. Just anything that's not miserable, I'm good with. Any day that's not miserable, I'm fine with.
All right, last one. Heinz is asking America if they are ready for mayo mixed with ketchup.
Oh.
Mayo chup.
Yeah.
Love it or shove it.
A debate on Twitter. Heinz on Thursday launched a poll asking Americans if they'd like a pre-made combination of the condiments called mayo chup. Heinz will bring the product, which is currently available in parts of the Middle East, to the United States if the poll closes on Sunday with 500,000 votes in its favor. I love it. Go ahead. It doesn't mean I'm going to. I may try it. I do like mayo, by the way.
Yeah.
And there have been times on a plate I have mixed mayo and ketchup together. So I have no problem with this at all. I love it. Give people another option.
I'm not sure there's any question you could ask me that I would shove more than this.
Really?
Mayonnaise is the spawn of Satan. It is the devil's condiment.
All right.
It is a trick played on all of us by mayonnaise people to believe that this white gloop is actually anything remotely edible.
Very passionate.
Mayonnaise is awful in every way, shape, or form. Ketchup is wonderful. I am against this completely. As Randy Jackson used to say on American Idol, that's a hard no from me, dog.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
So you're against this one?
Shove it.
Wow. Okay.
Shoved.
You know what? Quite honestly, best answer he's ever given.
Shoved.
I think he's finally getting it.
Yeah, I agree.
Shoved.
Hey, by the way, Mets are 10-1. Thanks.
You're doing very well.
Yeah, Golic and Wingo reminding you, tune in this Sunday as the World Series champ in the Astros. They host the Rangers, presented by Wendy's. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com, and the ESPN app, and at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app.
Okay, so as we continue here on Golic and Wingo, it's time for the streaks for the snacks for you.
Yes,
but I found the perfect story as a lead-up to the streak for the snacks.
All right.
This I find hilarious.
Okay.
This is from our own Field Yates. When the Eagles start their offseason programs on Monday, new wide receiver Mike Wallace has a chance to earn almost $600,000. $600,000.
Wow, and like a workout bonus?
And a workout incentive bonus. All right? You know what the incentive is?
What is it?
All he has to do is weigh in at less than 250 pounds.
200 and what?
250 pounds.
Wait, what is he, a tight end now?
No, he's a speedy wide receiver.
He is listed at 6 foot, 200 pounds.
This is the easiest weight bonus I've ever seen in my life.
This is just a way to give out more money in a different way.
Why didn't they just say we're adding you extra money to your contract?
Yeah, I don't know the reason
for cap
for
reasons.
that.
Maybe you manipulate that.
Right,
but
yeah.
Us almost $600,000 for coming in anywhere. You could be 49 pounds over your playing weight. See, if I'm Mike Wallace, I test this. I'm going to every burger stand I can find, every hot dog, pizza, chicken joint, just to see how close I could get to 250.
You're just making the work that much harder after, though, because then you got to lose all that weight.
Also true, but my God, a full that's 25% of his weight.
6 foot 200 he's listed at, and he weighs under 250. He gets $500,000. I love that clause.
By the way, we have Brett has weighed in on the. You have some researcher on wide receivers at 250 pounds.
It's never really happened. There was one guy who I could find, Michael Ricks for the late 90s Chargers, who ended up being a tight end. I think he was just a tight end, but he occasionally was split out, and they listed him as a wide receiver. He was 260.
I mean, the only guy I could think of would be David Boston. Remember the wide receiver who bulked up, but he was never supposed to be that big.
I love how you said Brett weighed in on this.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
That is. I mean, that's the easiest incentive I've ever heard.
Yep.
Eddie Lacy's like, dude, send me that.
I could not agree more.
Can I come within 50 pounds?
I need one of those.
Okay, so here we are. So I thought that was a perfect setup for the streaks for the snacks. You lost last week.
I did, because Notre Dame lost to Minnesota Duluth. Congratulations to them on being the national champs in hockey.
So now you must risk a tier 1 candy. So again, if you win these things, it used to be snacks around the office. Okay.
Well, that's what we're back to again. It's the gummy bears.
Correct, gummy bears. So if you win a game, it's a snack found around the office. Then if you win 2 games, it's a bite-sized candy bar. You get 3 games in a row, full-size candy bar. 4-game box of donuts. 5 games is a full candy.
Exactly.
So you can either pick the game or risk a better snack option. So here we go.
Yeah.
You ready? Here's the game.
Absolutely.
Spurs at Warriors on ABC and ESPN Radio 2:30.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
And I'm eating the gummy bears.
I'm back down to the beginning of this. I don't like gummy bears, so I'm not picking those. I want to get to the cake, so I need to get a streak going. So I'm going to pick the game, and I'm going to pick Golden State at home in Game 1, taking the early 1-zip lead against the Spurs. That's my pick, and I'm going next for the bite-sized candy bar.
Right, because I took the gummy bears again.
Well, then let me handle this then. Forward Thinking brought to you by Cintas, a trusted partner of businesses everywhere. Cintas, ready for the workday. You're ready for the weekend eating your gummy bears.
I am. I'm ready for a workout now. You know what the best thing about the show is when organic things happen, and we had Stugotz on.
Right.
This leadership conference, it's actually happening.
Going to happen.
We are actually going to make this work at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Out of an idea that just came out of our brains.
Wait, we didn't cover everything fully. Did they serve beer there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right,
let me put it this way.
Yeah.
They celebrate the entire selection.
There you go.
Whatever you want, you can get it at Pinehurst.
All right.
We are going to do a leadership conference, and we'll learn how to lead. Like we lead into the Lebatard Joe Stugotz.
Brian! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.